Ever think your life's dull, predictable, safe, then boom, it's a wreck? What happens when your wife's gym selfies hide a $60,000 lie? I was sprawled out in my so-called basement office, just a desk jammed in the corner next to the water heater, surrounded by boxes of Christmas lights I never untangle, when it hit me that my life might be a boring sitcom about to jump the shark. It was a Tuesday night, nothing special, just me sipping a lukewarm Miller Lite that had been sitting there since I cracked it an hour ago, 50 hours at the shipping company this week, and I'm still hunched over my laptop, firing off emails about delayed pallets like it's gonna change the world. You ever think you're just coasting through your own rerun? Yeah, that was me, 41 years old, logistics manager. Sounds fancier than it is, trust me. It's not sexy, but it keeps the Wi-Fi on and the fridge stocked. I'm Tim, by the way. Nice to meet you in the middle of my mess. We've got this 4-bedroom house in one of those sleepy suburbs where kids ride bikes in wobbly circles and neighbors wave like they mean it, but nobody knows your name. Been married to Kay for 16 years. She's 39, still got that spark I fell for, or at least I thought she did. We've got twins, Jake and Emma, 17 now, the kind of chaos I'd die for without a second thought. I can still picture the day I met her, back when I was shoving boxes around a warehouse for minimum wage. She worked at this little coffee shop a block over, all chipped mugs and greasy counters. I'd stumble in every morning, half dead from the night shift, and she'd slide me a black coffee with a grin. One day she tripped, splashed it all over my boots, and instead of apologizing, she just laughed. This loud, messy laugh that made me forget I was soaked. "You're a mess, warehouse guy," she said, and I was hooked. She was my kind of normal back then, the girl who'd binge old sitcoms with me on a lumpy couch and make burnt popcorn smell like a 5-star meal. So there I am, Tuesday night, the house quiet except for the hum of the fridge upstairs and the clack of my keyboard. Emma's probably in her room, plotting her next soccer move or organizing her socks by color. She's got that accountant brain, scary smart. Jake's usually holed up with his computer, doing God knows what with code or games or whatever teenagers mess with these days. Kay's out, said something about a late gym class, which has been her thing lately. Gym this, gym that. Like she's training for the Olympics instead of just dodging my meatloaf dinners. I don't mind though. She's been happier since she started going, dropped some weight, got those fancy leggings she keeps showing off. I figure it's her time to shine, you know? I've got my spreadsheets, she's got her squats. Fair trade. Then I hear the stairs creak. Jake shuffles down, all lanky limbs and that hoodie he's worn since sophomore year. He's got his phone in one hand, clutching it like it's a grenade about to blow. His face is pale, like he's seen a ghost or eaten bad takeout. "Dad," he says, voice low, shaky. "You need to see this." I lean back in my chair, the springs groaning under me, and squint at him. "What's up, bud? You crashed the internet again?" He doesn't laugh. Doesn't even crack a smile, just steps closer and holds out the phone. My stomach does this weird flip, like when you miss a step going downstairs. He swipes the screen and there it is. A dating app. One of those swipe right deals I wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. The profile name hits me first. K, free, _spirit. Then the pictures load. K. My K. Posing in her gym gear, all flexed arms and tight tank tops, smirking at the camera like she's auditioning for some reality show. The bio says, "Ready for life's adventures." Adventures. What the hell? She's kidding, right? I say, grabbing the phone from him, my thumb hovering over the screen like I can swipe it away. "Tell me this is a prank. Jake?" He just shakes his head, eyes glued to the floor, and mumbles, "Tyler saw it too. Everyone's seen it. Tyler, his buddy from school, the kid who once ate half a pizza in 10 minutes at our house. Now he's swiping through my wife's selfies?" I scroll again, and there's another shot. Her in a sports bra, hair tossed back, captioned, "Living my truth." Living her truth? 16 years, 2 kids, a mortgage I've busted my ass to pay, and she's out here living her truth on some app like a thirsty 20-something? My ears start ringing and I shove the chair back, the legs scraping the concrete floor loud enough to make Jake flinch. I don't even say anything to him, just stumble past him, up the stairs, through the kitchen where Emma's chore chart is still taped to the fridge, and out to the garage. The air's cold out there. Smells like oil and old paint cans. I grip the edge of my workbench, the wood digging into my palms, and suck in a breath that feels like it's scraping my lungs. My hands are shaking and I can't tell if it's rage or something else, something softer that's cracking open inside me. 16 years. I see her in that coffee shop again, laughing over my soaked boots. Then fast forward to the twins' first steps. Me working doubles to afford diapers, her kissing me goodnight after I'd collapse on the couch. And now this, posing like some gym bunny on Tinder or whatever this app is? I let out a laugh, this dry, bitter thing that bounces off the walls. Guess I missed the memo that family life wasn't adventurous enough for her yoga pants. I mean, I get it. Pushing boxes and spreadsheets isn't exactly James Bond stuff, but I thought we were in this together, you know? Jake's still downstairs, probably staring at his phone, wondering if he just broke his old man. Poor kid didn't sign up for this. I can't even look at him right now. Don't know what I'd say. Sorry your mom's hunting for soulmates online? Don't worry, bud, Dad's fine. I'm not fine. I lean against the workbench, staring at the pegboard where my tools hang, all neat and lined up like my life used to be. How long's she been doing this? Weeks? Months? Was she swiping right while I was grilling burgers in the backyard last summer, telling myself we were okay? The garage door's still shut, but I feel like the whole damn world just crashed through it. I don't go back inside. Don't march upstairs to wake Kay up and demand answers. Not yet. I just stand there, breath fogging in the dim light, wondering when the rear run turned into a train wreck. The garage air was still clinging to my lungs when I finally dragged myself back inside, the taste of that stale Miller Lite sour on my tongue. Kay wasn't home yet, big surprise there. So I flopped down at the kitchen table, the one with the wobbly leg we'd been meaning to fix since Emma's science project took over the dining room 2 years ago. I grabbed a mug of coffee, cold from the pot I'd brewed at dinner, and just sat there, staring at the chipped edge of the Formica like it held some answers. Ever notice how "I'm going to the gym" sounds innocent until it's 10 p.m. and she's still not home? Yeah, me neither. Until now. My brain was doing that thing where it rewinds the tape, replaying the last couple years like I'm some detective in a bad cop show, trying to spot the clues I missed while I was busy keeping the lights on. It started small, I guess. Kay joined that gym 2 summers back, said she wanted to get healthy, which I was all for. She'd been lugging around a few extra pounds since the twins. Same as me, warehouse burgers and late-night ice cream runs will do that to you. Next thing I know, she's dropping 30 pounds, strutting around in these tight leggings that probably cost more than my work boots. Every week, a new pair showed up in the laundry, neon stripes and mesh cutouts, like she's about to star in a workout video instead of just chasing the twins to school. I'd catch her preening in the hall mirror, twisting to check her angles, and I'd think, good for her, she's feeling herself again. But then, the ladies' night started. She'd breeze out the door in her gym gear, hair tossed up in one of those messy buns that look like they take an hour to perfect, saying, "Don't wait up, Tim, it's a late one." Midnight rolls around and I'm half asleep on the couch, some dumb reality show blaring, wondering if spin class really runs that long. I tried keeping up once, figured I'd surprise her at the gym, maybe even join in. Big mistake. There I am, wheezing on a treadmill like a beached whale, sweat pooling in my socks while she's over by the weights, giggling with some dude in a tank top who's flexing like he's auditioning for a protein shake ad. Real Hallmark moment, right? I limped out of there after 20 minutes, told myself she was just making friends, that I was being a paranoid jackass. But the signs kept piling up, little digs she'd toss out like they were nothing. I'd say, "Hey, how about a movie night this weekend? Popcorn, the works." And she'd snap, "God, Tim, can't I have one thing for myself?" Her voice had this edge, sharp enough to cut through the haze of my overtime brain, and I'd just nod, mumbling, "Sure, yeah, no problem." While the twins traded looks across the table, Emma started asking stuff like, "Why's Mom never at my games anymore?" Her voice small, kicking at the chair leg like it'd bring Kay back to the bleachers. Jake didn't say much, just shrugged, headphones clamped on tight, retreating to his room like it was a bunker. She started throwing around phrases that made my skin crawl too. "Living my best life," she'd say, scrolling Instagram at breakfast, eyes glued to some influencer hawking detox tea. "I hate that crap now," sounds like an excuse to blow $12 on a smoothie and ignore your kids. I'd bite my tongue, figuring she was just going through something, maybe a midlife crisis light, nothing a few extra shifts at work couldn't smooth over. I kept telling myself we were fine, that 16 years and 2 kids meant something, you know? But the nights got longer, and the excuses got flimsier. Gym class, girls' night, need some me time. It was like a playlist on repeat, and I was the idiot still buying the album. The twins felt it too, even if they didn't say it out loud. Emma's the talker, always has been, 17 going on 40, with her color-coded calendars and that fierce glare she gets when she's mad. She'd been digging through tax stuff lately, says she wants to be an accountant someday, which is wild because I can barely balance a checkbook. She was at it again that night, papers spread across the living room floor, her ponytail swinging as she hunched over a calculator. I was still zoned out at the table, coffee gone bitter in my mouth, when she wandered in, a stack of bank statements clutched in her hands. "Dad," she said, voice tight, "something's weird here." I blinked at her, brain still half stuck on Kay's dating profile, and took the papers. She pointed at these highlighted lines. ATM withdrawals, random transfers, stuff I'd never seen before. "This is from our college accounts," she said, tapping the numbers. "Like, mine and Jake's. There's almost 60 grand gone, Dad, over the last year." My gut twisted, coffee sloshing in the mug as I set it down too hard. 60 grand. We'd been squirreling that away since they were babies, me taking holiday shifts, skipping lunches to toss a couple hundred in each month. It wasn't Ivy League money, but it was enough for state college. A decent start. I stared at the numbers, black ink blurring into a punch to the chest. "You sure?" I asked, voice hoarse, like she'd misread it or something. Emma nodded, her jaw set. "I triple-checked. It's gone." I rubbed my eyes, feeling the weight of Jake's phone bomb, and now this, crashing down like a damn avalanche. Kay rolled in right then, gym bag slung over her shoulder, humming some pop song like she hadn't just turned my night into a dumpster fire. She kicked off her sneakers, barely glancing at us, and I couldn't stop myself. "Hey," I said, keeping it casual even though my hands were shaking under the table. "What's with these ATM withdrawals?" "From the kids' accounts." She froze for half a second, then shrugged, tossing her hair back like it was no big deal. "Oh, just stuff I needed." "Relax, Tim, it's not like we're broke." Stuff she needed. I watched her grab a water bottle from the fridge, her nails clicking against the plastic, and my brain short-circuited. Stuff she needed. Right, because spa days and whatever the hell life coaching is are totally kid-approved expenses. I didn't push it, not yet. Emma was still standing there, eyes boring into her mom's back, and I could see the gears turning in her head. I forced a laugh, this dry, cracked thing that didn't reach my eyes, and said, "Yeah, sure. Must have been some real critical leggings." Kay didn't even turn around, just kept humming like she hadn't heard me, or didn't care. I sat there staring at the bank statements, the coffee cold and forgotten, and felt that garage unease clawing its way back up my throat. Something was rotting under this roof, and I was starting to smell it. I didn't sleep that night after Kay's stuff I needed line, just sat at the kitchen table until the coffee went stale and the first streaks of dawn crept through the blinds. You know what's worse than your wife on a dating app? Finding out she's funding her midlife crisis with your kid's future. Buckle up, folks. This one's a doozy. I kept replaying her shrug, that smug little toss of her hair, like 60 grand from Jake and Emma's college funds was no bigger deal than a grocery run. My head was spinning, a mess of bank statements and gym selfies, and I couldn't sit still anymore. By morning, I was pacing the kitchen, socks scuffing the linoleum. The papers Emma gave me spread out like a crime scene. Every highlighted line was a gut punch. $500 here, $1,000, $200 there. Random ATM withdrawals and transfers to accounts I didn't recognize. I'd spent years scraping that money together, skipping lunches, working Christmas Eve so they'd have a shot at college, and now it was gone. Poof, like it never mattered. Kay waltzed in around 9, still in her workout gear, smelling like lavender body spray and some kind of expensive shampoo we definitely didn't buy at Walmart. She dropped her gym bag by the door, humming again, always humming lately, like she's starring in her own damn musical, and I couldn't hold it in anymore. I slapped the stack of statements on the table, loud enough to make the mug rattle. "Kay," I said, voice low, trying to keep it steady. $60,000 from Jake and Emma's college funds. Where'd it go? She froze mid-step, water bottle halfway to her mouth, then turned slow, like she was sizing me up. Her lips curled into this smirk, this cocky little twist I hadn't seen since she haggled a car salesman down $500 10 years ago. "I deserve to live a little, Tim," she said, setting the bottle down with a thunk. "I gave up my youth for this family. They can take loans like everyone else." I stared at her, jaw slack, waiting for the punchline. Loans? The twins' future. All those late nights I spent hunched over shipping logs, and she's talking. Before I could even get a word out, Emma's voice cut through from the hallway, sharp and wobbly. "What?" She'd been coming down for breakfast, her ponytail still messy from sleep, and now she was standing there, barefoot, eyes wide. Kay didn't even flinch, just rolled her eyes like Emma was overreacting. "Oh, come on, Emma, don't be dramatic," she said, crossing her arms. "You're almost adults, you'll figure it out." Emma's face crumpled, tears spilling down her cheeks, and I heard Jake's door slam upstairs, loud enough to shake the ceiling fan. That's when I lost it. Not yelling, I don't do that, but my voice came out hard like gravel. "You gave up your youth," I said, stepping closer, hands balling into fists at my sides. "What about their future, Kay? What about the doubles I worked? The SUV you had to have, the house I broke my back to keep? That's nothing to you?" She laughed. Actually laughed. This short, sharp bark that hit me like a slap. "Tim, you're so stuck in your little routine. I need more than this," she said, waving a hand at the kitchen like it was a prison cell. "I've been dying here and you don't even see it." I wanted to shake her, to scream that I'd seen plenty, seen her drift away, seen the twins' faces fall. But instead, I just stood there, chest heaving, watching her grab her bag like she was done with the conversation. She was halfway to the stairs when Emma piped up again, voice thick with tears. "Was it for him, Mom? That guy?" Kay stopped, back stiff, but didn't turn around. "What guy?" I said, my throat dry, dread pooling in my gut. Emma wiped her face with her sleeve and stomped to the counter, grabbing her phone. "This guy," she said, shoving it at me. I took it, hands shaky, and there he was, Zach, some 35-year-old gym bro with a jawline he probably spent an hour chiseling in the mirror. His Instagram was a parade of rise and grind captions, shirtless selfies, and a leased Mustang he posed with like it was a Ferrari. Emma scrolled, her finger jabbing the screen, and up popped photos of him and K in a sundress at some beach bar. Kay laughing over steak dinners, Kay draped across his arm at a hotel pool. My stomach lurched. "This clown's calling her my favorite client," I muttered, zooming in on a caption. "Subtle, bro." Emma's voice was steel now. "No more tears. It's all there, Dad. Dates match the withdrawals. Beach trip, $2,000. Dinner, $300. Hotel, $1,500. She's been paying for him." I scrolled again, and there it was. A shot of them clinking wine glasses. Time-stamped last month, the same weekend she'd said she was at a girls' retreat. 60 grand, gone, straight into this discount soulmate's protein shake budget. My knees felt like jelly, but I couldn't sit down, couldn't stop moving. I tossed the phone back to Emma and gripped the counter, knuckles white, the edge biting into my palms. 16 years of overtime, diapers, that damn SUV she begged for. And she picks a guy who can't spell personal development? I let out a laugh, this choked, ugly thing that made Emma jump. "Guess I should have traded my toolbox for a tank top and some protein powder," I said, shaking my head. "Might have kept her living her best life right here." Kay spun around then, eyes flashing. "You don't get it, Tim," she snapped. "Zach understands me. He's going places. You're just stuck." Stuck. The word landed like a brick and I saw red. "Going places?" I shot back, voice rising despite myself. "He's 35, driving a car he can't afford and sponging off my kid's future. That's your hero?" She huffed, snatching her bag again. "I'm not doing this with you," she said, heading upstairs like she'd won something. Emma sank into a chair, burying her face in her hands, and I heard Jake's music kick on through the floor, loud, angry bass rattling the house. I stood there staring at the spot where Kay'd been, the bank statements crumpled under my elbow. My chest ached, not just from the money's just paper, but from how she looked at us, like we were nothing but dead weight. I was about to go after her, demand more, when Emma lifted her head, eyes red but steady. She reached over, squeezed my arm, and whispered, "Don't worry, Dad. I took care of everything." I blinked at her, confused, a flicker of hope cutting through the fog. "What do you mean?" I asked, voice rough. She just gave me this small, fierce smile, a smile I hadn't seen since she scored the winning goal last season, and said, "You'll see." I didn't know what she meant, but something in her look told me the fight wasn't over. Not yet. Emma's whispered, "I took care of everything," stuck with me like a song lyric you can't shake, rattling around my head as I slumped at the kitchen table after she went back upstairs. The house was quiet again, just the hum of the fridge and Jake's muffled bass thumping through the ceiling, but my brain was a damn tornado. 2 days after Kay's "I deserve happiness" speech, my phone buzzed on the counter, her name lighting up the screen. I almost didn't pick up Exel's, figured she'd be gloating about her big escape with Zach, but then I heard her voice shrill and cracking through the line. "What did you do, Tim?" I froze, coffee mug halfway to my mouth, and let out a snort. "Me? I didn't do jack, Kay. What's got you screaming like a banshee?" She was incoherent, spitting out something about Zach and everything falling apart, but I couldn't make sense of it. Not yet. Spoiler, it wasn't me. I hung up, still reeling, and started piecing it together like some guy who's just found the edge of a puzzle he didn't know he was solving. The twins didn't waste time, turns out. Jake, my quiet kid who'd rather talk to his computer than me most days, came shuffling into the kitchen that afternoon, hoodie pulled low over his eyes. "Dad," he said, voice barely above a mumble, "I got something to show you." He plopped his laptop down, screen glowing with a string of text messages. Zach's texts, snatched from God knows where. "How'd you even—" I started, but he just shrugged, tapping the keys. "Don't ask, just read." There it was, black and white. Zach sweet-talking 3 other women, all married, all sending him cash for his business dreams. Lines like, "You deserve better, babe," and "Help me build this empire" stared back at me, paired with Venmo screenshots. Hundreds, thousands, all from different names. Jake leaned back, arms crossed. "Sent it all to their husbands, burner emails. They won't know it's me." I gaped at him, coffee forgotten. "You hacked this guy?" He smirked, just a flicker. "He's not that smart, Dad." The fallout hit fast. By the next morning, word was buzzing. Zach got canned from the gym after one of the husbands, some meathead who owns a supplement shop, called the manager with receipts. Turns out transformation specialist doesn't impress pissed-off guys who've been funding your side hustle. Another husband, big shot at the country club where Zach was sniffing around for rich clients, pulled strings. Zach's guest pass got yanked, and his little protein powder racket dried up overnight. I couldn't help grinning when Jake told me, picturing that Mustang-driving clown scrambling to explain himself. Emma wasn't sitting idle either. She'd been at it since the night she showed me Zach's Instagram, hunched over her desk with a calculator and a stack of papers that had scared the IRS. "Dad," she said, sliding into the kitchen chair across from me, "that life coaching crap Mom bought into? Total scam. I found their site, filed a complaint, showed them the bank stuff. They're refunding $5,000. To you, not her." Her eyes glinted, fierce and proud. "Already hit your account." I leaned back, chair creaking under me, and rubbed my face with both hands. "You two," I said, voice thick. "Emma's got spreadsheets like a tax ninja, and Jake's out here playing teenage James Bond. Where'd I go right with you?" Emma grinned, kicking my shin under the table. "You didn't. We're just better than Mom." Jake snorted, rare as gold from him, and I laughed. This real, shaky thing that felt good after days of choking on it all. But I knew this wasn't over. Kay wasn't gonna float off with Zach and 60 grand like it was nothing. I grabbed my phone, dialed my buddy Dan, the lawyer who's more small-town divorce guy than fancy suit. He picked up on the second ring. "Tim, you okay?" he said, voice gruff. "Not really," I admitted, pacing again. "But I've got proof she drained the twins' college funds for some gym rat." "What do I do?" He chuckled, dry as dust. "Don't do anything stupid, Tim. We'll nail her legally. Bring me everything. Statements, screenshots, all of it." I nodded, even though he couldn't see me. "Yeah, done." Kay didn't stick around long after that. By the weekend, she was packing bags, tossing leggings and heels into a suitcase like she was headed for the red carpet instead of a dude's shitty apartment. "Zach and I are moving in together," she said, breezing past me in the living room, all smug like she'd won the lottery. I leaned against the wall, arms crossed, and muttered, "Good luck with that, princess." She shot me a glare, but I didn't care. Her voice was already fading into static. Then Monday hit, and my phone buzzed again. Voicemail this time. Kay, sobbing through the speaker. He cheated, Tim. Kicked me out. Said I was too clingy. I gave him everything. I played it back, smirking as I stirred my coffee. Karma's a gym rat with bad credit, huh? I didn't call her back. Didn't need to. The kids had already torched her fantasy world, and I was starting to see the ashes settle. Sitting there, listening to the twins bicker over the last Pop-Tart in the next room, I felt something shift. Emma yelled, "Jake, you ate 3 yesterday," and he fired back, "You snooze, you lose." Normal stuff. The kind of noise that used to drive me nuts, but now felt like a lifeline. I'd been gutted, sure. Kay's betrayal still burned, a raw ache behind my ribs. But watching Jake and Emma step up, I wasn't just the guy getting stomped on anymore. My fingers tapped the table, restless, and I thought about Dan's words. We'll nail her, legally. Yeah, we would. I grabbed my keys, headed to the garage where I'd stood 2 nights ago, and climbed into my beat-up Honda. The engine sputtered to life, and I caught my reflection in the rear view. Tired, yeah, but not broken. I'm done being the punching bag, I said to nobody, voice steady for the first time in days. Time to fight back. Whatever Emma meant by taking care of everything, I'd find out soon enough. But for now, I had a lawyer to see and a life to claw back. The Honda's engine was still humming in my ears as I pulled back into the driveway after meeting Dan. The divorce papers a crumpled stack on the passenger seat. That was 3 months ago now, and I'm sitting at the kitchen table. Divorce officially signed, house quiet except for the drip of the coffee maker. I'm sipping a mug that doesn't taste like regret for once. Progress, right? The twins are at school, Emma probably bossing some group project, Jake hunched over a laptop in the library, and I'm just here letting the dust settle. It's weird how silence can feel heavy after weeks of chaos, like the air's holding its breath waiting for the next shoe to drop. But it's not dropping, not anymore. I lean back, the wobbly leg creaking under the table, and catch a glimpse of Emma's chore chart still taped to the fridge, faded but hanging on, kind of like us. Court was a blur, but man, did we come out swinging. Dan had that binder ready, 3 inches thick, stuffed with bank statements, Zach's sleazy tech, every screenshot the twins dug up. Kay showed up in her gym gear like she was headed to spin class after with some billboard lawyer who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. Her smug face melted fast when Dan laid it all out. $60,000 drained from the twins' college funds, hotel receipts, steak dinners, all time-stamped while I was clocking overtime. The judge, this stern grandma type with glasses perched on her nose, didn't even blink. Financial infidelity, she called it, voice sharp as she stared Kay down. Fancy way to say you screwed up, Kay, I muttered under my breath, and Dan elbowed me to shut up. She's got to pay it all back, every cent garnished from her wages, no alimony, nothing. I keep the house too. Judge said the kids need stability, and since I'm the one still paying the mortgage, it's mine. Kay's lawyer tried some sob story about her sacrificing her career, but Dan pulled out records. Her spa days and life coaching cost more than a full-time job at her old salon. Get back to work, the judge snapped, and that was that. The real kicker, though, was the twins. They didn't have to testify. Dan made sure of it, but they wrote letters for the judge. Emma's was long, all neat handwriting and crossed-out drafts she'd agonized over. I trusted her, she wrote. Planned my college apps thinking we had a future set. Finding out she took it for some guy, it's like she stole me, not just the money. Jake's was short, 5 words scratched in pen. She chose him over us. I didn't read them till after when Dan handed me copies, and I had to step outside the courthouse, sit on a bench, and just breathe. The judge brought them up in her ruling, voice softening for a second. Irreparable damage, she said, eyeing Kay like she was a kid caught sneaking cookies. Kay didn't even look at me when it was over, just grabbed her bag and bolted, heels clicking on the tile. Emma saw her in the parking lot later, tried to wave, but Kay kept walking. Guess she's done pretending, Emma said, shrugging it off, but I saw her swipe her eyes quick when she thought I wasn't looking. Life's different now, slower, but good. Different. Emma's at State, snagged a partial scholarship, told you she's scary smart, and works part-time at the campus bookstore stacking shelves with that same fierce focus she used on those spreadsheets. Jake's in their computer science program, coding stuff I can't even pronounce, building apps or games or whatever genius nonsense he's into. They're tougher than I ever was, I tell people, and I mean it. They took the hit and kept swinging. Me, I got a bump up to regional ops manager at work. More hours, but better pay, and the house doesn't feel so empty anymore. I've been seeing someone too, Sarah, a kindergarten teacher I met through a buddy. She's got a 5-year-old of her own, so she gets the mess. Doesn't blink at the chaos of my life. "You're not so bad, Tim," she said last week, smirking over coffee at this little diner near her place. "Thought you'd be all bitter and broody." I laughed, stirring sugar into my cup. "Give me time. I'm working on it." She's a Monopoly shark, though. Wiped the floor with me and the twins last Friday, cackling as she bankrupted Jake with Boardwalk. "You're ruthless," he grumbled, tossing his fake cash, and she just winked. "Learned it from my kindergartners." Kay's another story. She's back at the salon, cutting hair in that tiny place on the edge of town, living in a 1-bedroom she got evicted from last month. Spent rent money on some designer purse, I hear. Now she's crashing with her sister, posting these weepy Facebook updates about forgiveness and starting over that nobody likes. "Everyone makes mistakes," she wrote last week, and I scrolled past it, snorting. Jake saw it too, rolled his eyes over his cereal. "She's still full of it," he said, spoon clinking against the bowl. Emma just nodded, flipping through a textbook. "Let her figure it out. We're done." They mean it too. Kay showed up at their graduation, all dolled up in a dress that screamed, "Look at me." But Emma turned away in the parking lot, and Jake didn't even glance back. I watched from the bleachers, proud as hell, even if my chest ached a little. Sipping my coffee now, I think about how it all shook out. I learned you can bust your ass, 16 years of late shifts, burnt dinners, fixing that damn dryer, and still lose. But real life? It's not some Instagram fantasy with filters and hashtags. It's game nights with my kids, Sarah laughing at my terrible jokes, the twins bickering over who gets the last slice of pizza. I found Kay's old vision board in the garage last month, buried under a pile of junk magazine cutouts of beaches and sports cars all faded and curled. Sarah saw it when she was helping me clean, raised an eyebrow. "Wow," she said. "Some people really don't get what matters." I grinned, tossing it in the trash. "Yeah, well, I'm good with what I've got." "Final jab for you, Kay. Hope Zach's tank tops were worth it. He's in Florida now, I hear, running beach boot camps in those same tight shirts, probably still scamming someone. Not my problem anymore. The twins are heading to college in the fall. Emma's got dorm plans down to the color scheme. Jake's teaching himself some coding thing I'll never understand. Sarah's kid keeps asking when we're playing Monopoly again, and I'm thinking maybe I'll let her win next time. Life's messy, loud and miney. And that's enough.